What guys doing? Shalom, everybody. In the new body. Huh? Yes, yes. Shalom, everybody in the body. Reuben Israel, Diago, Miguel, Shalom. I'm gonna make you, Reuben Israel, I'm gonna make you a moderator. Every now and again, when you get a chance, type that Plant Vineyards 144 at gmail.com into the chat. If you would for me, please, sir. On the real though, hey fam, go get that video, bring it back. Let's break it down. The video that went out. Right? That's what I heard. I heard it was taken down. That was smart. That was wise. That was real wise. Take that bad boy down. Maybe they'll last a little longer now than they would have, you know? Because you can't be doing that. I mean, that'll put a cold look on you right there, you know. That'll put something on your back if you out there, you know, you doing it like that, you know. They'll last even longer if he apologized, if he repented before us all, you know. Last even longer then. But it's a lot of people been done wrong, you know. And to the extent that it is, I didn't know about. Hit that like button, y'all. If it ain't too much for you. But if you're here as a hater, don't worry about it. It got an S on it, Reuben. Plant Vineyards with an S. 144 at gmail.com. Yeah, but let's link back in, y'all. We ready to go. plantvineyards144@gmail.com. Right? If you're in North Carolina, y'all got somewhere to go. We ready to link y'all in North Carolina. Right? If you're in Florida, we got somewhere for y'all to link in. Okay? Of course, if you're here where I'm at, I'm in Southern California. Okay? If you're in Los Angeles, if you're in Riverside, if you're in San Diego, if you're in San Bernardino, okay? If you're in places like this, we ready to link in. If you're up north, we got a whole church. We got a whole church in Sacramento. They're already going. They've been going. We have somewhere for you to go if you're in Sacramento. Y'all link in, y'all tap in. Let's get this thing popping. Right? If you're in New York, we don't got nobody there. Somebody link in from there. Y'all link in. It ain't nothing to choose one of y'all, right? And have everybody in New York start going to y'all, and y'all start putting it together. Okay, we ain't got nobody in Texas and places like this. So if you're in Texas, link in. You might be the guy that we set up in Dallas. Okay, in H-Time. You know what I'm saying? Wherever y'all at, link in. We're going to start this thing over, and we're going to do this thing here. Okay? Let's start connecting. It's a lot of us being kicked to the wayside. We didn't deserve it. Some of y'all did deserve it. But I know we are praying, people. I know we pray. I know we realize when we messed up and we repent. I know it's times where we didn't mess up and we still repent because we them kind of people, we got them kind of hearts, and we just ask the Most High for another chance to do things better the next time. This is that chance, right? Come be a part of a body that ain't gonna have the problems that the last body had, right? And that goes for a lot of y'all. Right? The last body had problems that shouldn't have even been problems, you know. So not only are you getting another chance, but it's going to be easier to abide, right? You know, we grown. We are grown Hebrews, okay? A man will never poke his finger in your chest with this new thing we getting ready to do here, right? You will have freedom, okay? It's not cultish, okay? You don't have to worship me, you know? You don't got to look at me when you want to uplift another one of your brothers, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing like that, okay? We are all equal here. We are all equal, you know? There's going to be people set up, right? But let the greatest of you be your servant, okay? Ain't gonna be no special treatments and things like this, you know? You ain't gonna pull up Shalakia, you ain't gonna pull up to the holy day and we got special chairs. You know what I'm saying? Nah, we all gonna have the same chair. You know, special seats, special hats, right? Special this and special that. Nah, let us have all things in common, right? And we just gonna link up on this side, and we just gonna keep this thing going. John Hancock, what happened with what? Talk to me. What's the confusion? You outgrew them, and that's okay. Keep looking up. I didn't outgrow them. You know, I had a visitation with the Most High, and he spoke directly to me. If it wasn't for that, I would still be there, you know, because I'm loyal, you know. I'm like a dog. It's very hard to break me. It's very hard to turn me away from you, you know. And Elder Ricard, he never utilized that. He never used that. He kept me at bay. He kept me far away, you know. If he would have treated it better, then the Most High wouldn't have had the gripes that the Most High had, you know. I'm different. I came into the truth different. I woke up different, okay? The Most High came and got me himself, okay? I didn't listen to some man about God. God came to me himself. I would have never changed. If it was up to me listening to some man, I would have never changed. I would have never repented. I would have never did those things. I would have never changed my life. I would have never stopped doing the things I was doing. Listen to side B and listen to that outro. It's a true story. I went to sleep one night, and at 3 o'clock on the dot, 3:00 a.m., I busted out my sleep like this, and I was scared to death, and I felt my death coming. My death was coming. The Most High was done with me. He was getting ready to snatch me out this earth, and I felt it. I wouldn't say I had no more than 2 weeks left of my life, I believe, you know, or however long it was going to be. I can't put no 2 weeks on it, but that's what it felt like, you know. I was doing some things that I'm not proud of. I was living a life I wasn't proud of, and I was doing my thing, right? In a city where the people didn't know me. I was new there. My name was Cali. You know what I'm saying? And people around us uh was getting murked. You know what I'm saying? Getting found all over the place. And this was my circle. I was part of them, right? And you know, the head guy who everything belonged to, you know, the kingpin, he fell in love with me. He fell in love with my personality, my swag. You know what I'm saying? I took him. I brought him to California, took him around, showed him around, got him some good deals and all of that, and he fell in love. Took him to some clubs. You know, we hung out with some Charger players, some different things like that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he fell in love and he took me home and he put me over all his guys that had been with him forever. And they did not like that, you know, and I'm pretty sure they was plotting on me. I didn't have long, y'all. I was finna get snuffed out, you know, and Yeah, I woke up like that. I was scared to death. And the Most High set me straight right there. You know what I'm saying? I was up all night. I was scared. I knew I was finna go to hell, right? It wasn't nothing on earth that I was scared of. I was scared of the afterlife that I stood to gain, and it was an automatic wake up. And then I had to figure out in the earth how to get righteous, right? I didn't know what had happened to me, but I knew that I needed to be a totally different person who I was that night when I woke up like that. So uh it became a quest in the earth to find righteousness. You know, I was indebted in California. I had a PO and all of that I had skipped out on when I had started chasing that money all over the country. What's the first thing to do? Go home. Go home. But I was addicted to traveling. I wasn't ever going to stop traveling. I thought I would travel for the rest of my life. I didn't like sitting in one place no more. I was always on the move, always on the go. So when I was coming back to California, I wasn't planning to stay. And I came back. Came back to California. I faced my warrants, went to jail, and that Bible was waiting in jail. That's where I started reading the Bible at. It was November 13th of 2008. And that started my journey with the Most High. Uh, I came on home, found that Bible. I had a lot of books in my cell. I read those books. I read a lot of books. You know, I was knocking down a book like every couple of days. Those became my television in there, in my movies. Out here we just put a movie on. In there, you read a book. You know, and I guess I was maturing then. I'm older. I'm older then. When I was younger, I was gambling. I was a part of the gamble crew. I was a part of the gang crew. You know, we'd be bouncing each other off the walls and all of that when I was locked up before that. And it was a big old party, you know. And but this was different, you know. After I woke up like that and then came back to California and then went to jail, I didn't want to do none of that. I just want to be on my bunk and read books, right? I'm about 30 years old, 30, 31, 30, something like that. And yeah, I was knocking them books down, and then the librarian stopped coming. Something went on with the librarian, and I couldn't get no new books. Couldn't get no new books. And that Bible was sitting over there, and it had been sitting over there, and I had been looking at it like, man, I hope I don't gotta read that one day, you know, because it was big and thick, and the words were small, and you know. But when I ran out of all of them books, I was addicted to reading, and I went a few days looking at that Bible over there, like, and then I finally just picked it up. I picked it up. It didn't have no cover on it. It was beat up pretty bad. It didn't have the front cover or the back cover was ripped off. And I started reading it. It wasn't missing no scriptures though. I started reading it. I Started at Genesis 1 and 1. And I'm still in that book. I'm still in it to this day. You know, almost 20 years later, 17 years later, right? 2028 will make it 20 years. So it's been a nonstop quest since then. Me and the Most High, you know? But he came by himself first. And he put the mind on me, and he put the thoughts on me to start making the decisions I was making and making the moves that I was making. He hit me with that fear first. He hit me with the fear of him, right? And you know, and when he had me in that jail, and I'm in his Bible now. When I picked up that Bible, that was him saying, "Okay, let me tell you a little bit about me." You know what I'm saying? Let me show you who came and got you. So the Most High came and got me himself. And that's another reason why I named myself the Maverick in the beginning, because, you know, it's a long journey. You know, it's different. It's different. He came and got me himself. I knew that that was rare, you know, and it's been rare. My journey has been rare. A lot of things I do is first time, you know, wasn't seen before I done it, right? When this elder ever took down the slander video? When we ever seen him do that? A mistake. You shouldn't have done that. Glad you realize it, right? All praises to the Most High, you know, and no hard feelings at anybody over there, man. You know why? Because with ill feelings, you don't go to the electric blue. You won't go there. You won't see what I saw, right? No ill feelings in the heart, none, right? And if you ever feel some, you should be worried about that. We gotta really get that out of us, and we gotta be pure, right? With them ill feelings, Fred Gene and Shalom, good to see you, brother. Uh, I'm gonna take all our music off of private too. I put our music on private at this man's beck. I forgot about that, right? Mm-mm. We're gonna take that off private, you know. But yeah, yeah, no hard feelings, y'all. Right? We're gonna have to be pure. Any ill feelings, we're gonna have to get that stuff off of us, man. We should look at that like if we're a pot of pottage, right? We should see that like somebody then dropped some urine in us or something like that, or something repugnant, something nasty. That's what ill feelings are, you know? You want that in you? I don't want that in me. You know what I mean? I would rather just be all love, you know? Who want that in you? Who want them ill feelings in you? You know? I don't want them in me. taint. You taint it, right? If somebody can make you feel, ugh, you know, enemies and all of this and quarrels, you know, that stuff should only happen when you're trying to get to peace, right? Because peace is on the other side of a war, you know? Things ain't gonna just be peaceful. You got to fight yourself through the land to peaceful areas, right? It's not just peaceful everywhere. No, you have to get out there. You got to find peace. What's on your way to peace? War, right? So y'all looking at me and this man getting into it, and I mean, I almost knew that that was kind of inevitable because I tried to leave. I left. I announced it. I'm done with this church. I'm no longer a part of the Gathering of Christ Church, and I meant it, right? And I got off the internet and I walked away, right? And I didn't get back on the internet until like the next day sometime. And then I came in there and I saw everybody's response. And I was like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? You know, I never seen nothing like that. I've seen a lot of people leave. Oh, it's sad, you know, man. All right. You know, well, most high bless you, blah, blah, this and that. You know, we say our last words, or else that thing go out where they like, don't talk to such and such, you know. They excommunicate you, you know. I've seen that 1,000 times, right? Or, you know, however that goes, you know. And it's okay. A brother's not with the church anymore. But I mean, y'all responded in the church and out the church. It's like it just the Hebrew community just flipped upside down. And I'm scratching my head on the internet, like, man, what is this? Like, what's going on? What's happened? Why is everybody expressing, you know, so much emotion? And then my phone rings. And it's my leadership in California. Hey, what's going on? You know, what's happening? You know, it's my officer, right? Whom I love so much, whom it was hard to wrap my mind around. I won't be a part of his congregation anymore, you know, Officer Yarack, you know. He calls, what's going on, you know? And I talk to him, and he goes and he comes back, you know, with the whole leadership. And then we sit down and we talk about what's going on. And it's like just begging me, don't go, don't leave. What you talking, what you mean? You know, what you mean? You ain't a part of this church no more. And they didn't care what I said. I don't want to be a heretic, sir. I'm about to start saying some things. I'm not sure if y'all agree with it or not, you know. And I don't want that on y'all. I want it only on me, you know. Nah, we with you. Say what you gotta say. Whatever you need to say, we behind you. Like, man, I'm telling you, it's gonna go bad. Okay, well, when it go bad, we'll get to that bridge when we get to it. We'll cross that when we get there. You know, and I let them talk me back into the church. And I was like, okay. And that was the first time I ever saw that. So I got out here. I'm a part of the GOCC, but I got my own thing that I'm bringing forward now. And I just went on with it. Right. And I knew it was going to end bad, but, you know, but the way they wasn't hearing nothing I was talking about, and the main objective was just to stay, don't leave. I thought that was coming from Elder Ricard, and that was why they couldn't reason with me, you know, and that's why they wouldn't say, okay, just go, you know. I thought it wasn't their order, and that's why they was stuck on that like that. Like Elder Ricard had just told them, hey, don't let him leave. You know, that's what I thought in my mind, you know, and it turns around like this that according to him, he didn't know nothing about this, you know. So I don't know. I don't know now. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. I don't know what the conversation was like. I don't know how they reason with themselves before or after the ordeal. I don't know how they feel now. I don't know. You know, I can only vouch for what I seen with my own eyes and heard with my ears. You know, so yeah, that's how that went. So when he went crazy and all like that, and I'm like, I feel halfway like I wasn't with your church. You know, I should have stayed gone, and he wouldn't have been able to say nothing, right? And then I start feeling like I was set up, like, okay, that's why you didn't let me leave, because it's about the image of your church. He did say that too once, like, you know, it looks bad on the church if you leave. Like, you know, if we lose you, it looks bad. It looks bad on the church if you go. Kept trying to force a reason out of me. And I didn't feel like going into that. I didn't need to go into that, you know. But when he said, what is it that you're going to be explaining, you know, that you can't explain with us? And y'all know I got that problem with, you know, my mind disconnecting from my mouth. And I thought about how to explain that to him, you know, uh, and it didn't work out. When I thought, how can I explain this to this man right now and not miss no points and get every point in of what I want to talk about? And that just seemed like an impossible task at the moment to break that down to him. So some things came to mind, and I spoke those things that did come to mind, but I didn't get everything. I'm not sure if I talked about planting vineyards. I'm not sure if I talked about healthy food. I don't remember what I told him, but I would like to hear it again because he recorded it. You know, while we was talking, a lady said, "This call is being recorded." And I was like, praise the Most High. I need to come back and I need to go back and listen to this. I hope they play it at some time, or, you know, uh, Akyam, if y'all on here, send me that. I would like to have it. I would like to hear it. I ain't gonna do nothing with it. I ain't gonna play it. I ain't gonna play it for nobody else. But hey, you know, whatever the case may be, you know. But we never seen nothing like that, man. You know, and y'all responded, man. It's okay, what is this? You know, this is something different. Let y'all pull me back, you know. But shoot, I do wish we could all be together, though, you know. And maybe one day we will. For y'all that's over there in the gathering the Christ Church, you know, I mean, we'll be together again one day. I believe so, right? I believe so. And y'all at the gathering the Christ Church, the leadership, Elder Ricard and y'all, switch up, brother, because the Most High told me about y'all. And you're not going to last doing the kind of things that's being done over there. You know, y'all are doing some things and it's not right. You know what you're doing. I'm not gonna say what you're doing, but you know what you're doing to some of your members and how you're treating them and things like this, and how you being unfair to them, you know. It don't fly with the Most High. He don't like it. Those is his direct words. Okay, that was involved in my experience. He doesn't like the way people are being treated over there. The things that you guys are doing, you haven't been given I know you think you've been given all this crazy authority to do whatever you want to do to people. You can't do a lot of the things that you're doing to people. You're taking it too far. Okay? Stop it. Treat people right. Treat people good, right? Let nothing be done through strife and vainglory. Okay? A lot of it is vainglory. Okay? When you do anything in the vein of that church, that's a vainglory. Okay? Treat people right. Okay? Or the Most High is going to bring your whole church down. Okay? He's not gonna keep listening to people praying about you. He gonna do something. And I'm glad you took that video down. You know what I'm saying? Because he was getting ready to move about that, right? And you would even better solidify yourself if you apologize to the people about doing that in the first place, because you know you far-fetched that. That wasn't pure. It wasn't pure, what you were saying. And you stretched that stuff. You had to make me look extra bad for whatever reason. I won't speculate on why you did it, maybe to keep people away from me, maybe to preserve your church, maybe to give me an uphill battle going forward, right? I don't know why you did it, but you wasn't pure in your accusations, okay? It ain't like you didn't know. I didn't know ain't gonna work. I thought this and no. Mm-mm. You can't make mistakes and then say I thought, right? And that's why I don't do anything quickly. That's why I take my time doing everything. I don't do anything in haste. I take my time in everything I do, right? And who am I? If only you knew. If only you knew who I am. I'm nobody. That's who I am. I ain't nobody, you know, but I'm somebody to the Most High, and we all are, you know. None of us should be mistreating any of us, you know. When you have children, you know, you don't want to see any of your children do anything to any of your other children, and that's how the Most High feels, right? Even when they're wrong. Think about that, because it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Would you want to see one of your children bust another one of your children in the head? No. No. But wouldn't you appreciate that if you see one of your children grab one of your other children and talk to them? Hey, dad don't like when we doing that. Right? Ain't that blessed? You know? They might grab each other's front of shirts and get a little aggressive or something like this. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you're gonna be like, okay, I'm not gonna jump up and separate y'all yet, but you looking at it like, hey, okay, y'all take it easy. You're getting ready to go too far with this thing, you know. But you might even appreciate seeing that fire, right? Seeing that, hey, I'm serious about this. You know how dad feels, and that's how the Most High is. He wants us to rebuke each other. He wants us to come down on each other. Hey, man, that's what it means to suffer not sin upon them, right? Because you're suffering watching somebody sin. You watching them and you just like, oh man, like, oh, suffer not sin upon them, right? You're suffering. It's hard to watch them do that. And then they go too far, and then you got to jump up like, hey, man, come on. You can't do that, brother. You got to stop doing that right there. Right? Suffer not sin upon them. All right? Let's go to it. Let's just go to it. Let me stop paraphrasing. Right? Leviticus 19 and 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. What is that? That's trying to get you to the electric blue right there. That's the electric blue. Soon as I read that, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart, it put me in that place that I went to as soon as I read that, right? Because ain't no hate gonna be in that place, right? It's trying to cleanse your heart out, right? Because that's what you turn into when you shed this flesh. You go right into that electric blue ball, right? Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor. That's an argument, right? And not suffer sin upon him. Why are you arguing? So that he could stop sinning, right? Thou shalt not avenge, right? So if it don't go your way, you can't be trying to figure out how to get even. You got to let it alone. You got to let it go, right? Bear not any grudge against the children of thy people, right? So that's the collective. That's why you doing this, so that it ain't fights going on everywhere in Israel. You know what I'm saying? Bear nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, right? So that's why this is happening, because we're looking at Israel as a collective, as a whole. And what is that for? The Gentiles. That's so that the Gentiles are looking at us and not saying, you know, we that's another thing. We gotta start holding Gentiles at a higher regard, y'all. We can't be dogging them out, looking at them as spittle and blah blah. They are going to build our kingdom, right? We're not doing any work in our kingdom. They're gonna be doing it, right? This is their kingdom right now. We are the laborers, ain't we? We got the rough jobs, the low jobs, right? Or even they taking that from us now. They bringing over immigrants, right? And they just leaving us to the wayside. They left us the drugs and the guns and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They, they want to be able to kill us and lock us up and things like that and get rid of us. So that's those are the things that they done left us. But for the main part, we the laborers, you know. But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, right? So we gotta love our neighbor as ourself, right? I am the Lord. He's signing off with his name. His name is I am, right? I am the Lord. I am thy power, you know. And then he signed it, boom, and he's out of there, right? But We got to love our neighbor as ourselves. You know what that means? To love your neighbor as yourself. If you're wrong, what would you expect? If you were wrong, right? You out there bad, right? And everybody is on your back. What would you want them to be saying? What would you want them to be doing to you? No understanding that you're wrong. See, that's why we got to become accountable to ourselves, you know, because when you're in that situation and you're the one who's wrong, how would you want to be treated? You know, of course, you might not want it to be swept under the rug. I'm caught, I'm in trouble, you know. You might not want it to be totally ignored. You know, you would expect, you know, uh some problems to come from it. You know, you would expect something, you know, but I mean, you wouldn't expect too harsh of a punishment. If you could find some mercy of some type, you know, then yeah, give me my mercy, you know. Okay. The punishment don't fit the crime. Y'all doing too much to me for this. I don't feel like it. You know what I mean? You got to be able to put yourself in the punisher's shoes and say, okay, that's too much, you know, or okay, that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? How would you want to be treated if you're wrong, right? You got to put yourself in the wrong person's shoes at that time. Okay, I'm going to do this to him, but I'm not going to do that. That's loving your neighbor as yourself, right? What ramifications would you expect? You know, we can't just go dog a brother out totally, right? And then later on, the shoe is on your foot now, and you wanna you know you want a lenient punishment. Nah, you went all hard on the eye. Nah, you about to get what you gave him. That's loving your neighbor as yourself. You know, what would you do to yourself? You know, if you're hard on yourself, then it's hard. It's okay to be hard on your eye. You know, and that's why my rebukes used to come out so cold. People be like, man, who you think you are, Bronze? You too high, brother. Bring yourself down. And I'm like, no. How you think I got how I am? Because I was hard on myself like that. Right? It was hard to get me right. Every other word was an F-bomb when I spoke, right? And I was a forward-hearted person, and the streets taught me that, right? We fought for nothing. Okay? We bloodied each other's mouth before a beard, you know? I grew up rough. I grew up real rough, you know? And that love had to hit me, y'all. I'm not like that anymore. I'm not rough anymore. I'm not cold in my speech anymore, right? That changed, huh? But man, so y'all link in, right? Y'all link in. We got North Carolina, we got Florida, we got two in California. So places we don't have, y'all link in. We gonna set y'all up. Especially if I know you. Especially if I can vouch for who you are and things like this. Y'all hit me up. We gonna set y'all right up. And we gonna hit these streets. If you got a downtown in your city, we gonna have to be down there. right? And we're gonna have to take this word to the public, right? And reach our people, y'all. Let's go get Jake. Let's go get him. He out there struggling. He don't know who he is, right? He don't know who Christ is, right? So let's go get him and bring him in the fold. That's what time it is, you know? And we're going to fellowship too. We're going to do all that. We're going to do it all, you know? So y'all link in and lock in. And let's get this thing going. But it's starting to rain pretty hard out here and my computer getting wet. So I'm going to shut this down. All right? We got 9 minutes. We'll make it up later. Y'all know we will. But shalom.